Hello everyone, welcome to This Family Does Everything. My name is Alexandria, and this is a video on the defense's witnesses. Everyone Darrell Brooks called to the stand. This is witness 1 through 6, so let's sit back, watch, and analyze the Darrell Brooks trial.
Where's my instruction? When you get there, we're going to have the interpreter sworn first.
Do you swear that you will interpret truly, accurately, completely, and impartially in accordance with the standards prescribed by law, the Code of Ethics for Court Interpreters, and Wisconsin Guidelines for Court Interpreting?
I do. Certified Spanish interpreter Patrick Ryan.
Thank you. And Mr. Marquez, would you please raise your right hand to be sworn by my clerk?
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Sí.
Yes.
Please have a seat. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I have an instruction to read to you. No matter what language people speak, they have the right to have their testimony heard and understood.
Do you recall if it was regular officers or FBI?
¿Se acuerdan si fue un oficial regular o fue la gente de FBI?
FBI.
FBI.
Do you recall telling them that the truck was black?
¿Se acuerda que usted
Grounds.
The objection is sustained. As to leading, please rephrase your question.
Do you remember what color you told them the truck was?
¿Se acuerda si usted se acuerda qué color dijo él, qué color la troca fue?
No recuerdo.
I don't remember.
So it would be fair to say you don't recall seeing anything at that time?
¿Se puede decir que usted no se acuerda de nada en ese tiempo?
No.
No.
And did you at any time file a claim related to this incident?
¿En algún momento usted archivó un reclamo con respecto a este incidente?
No recuerdo.
I don't remember.
Do you know if anyone you were with filed a claim related to this incident?
¿Sabe si alguien que la acompañó si archivó un reclamo con respecto a este incidente?
No lo sé.
I don't know.
Would you consider yourself an injured party in this incident?
¿Usted se considera una parte herida, lesionada debido a este incidente?
Sí.
Yes.
Any reason why you wouldn't file a claim since you considered yourself an injured party?
Por eso que usted
Grounds.
se considera una persona no herida durante ese incidente, ¿alguna razón por la cual no archivaría un reclamo?
There's an objection. It's sustained as to the form of the question. Please rephrase.
Por favor, diga la pregunta de nuevo.
¿Me puede repetir la pregunta?
There's an objection. You don't need to answer.
No tiene que contestar.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Please rephrase, Mr.
Por favor,
Brooks.
diga la pregunta de diferente manera, señor Brooks.
It's kind of hard to rephrase.
Es un poco difícil decir la pregunta de diferente manera.
Did you intend on filing a claim related to this case?
Objection.
¿De archivar un reclamo con respecto a este caso?
Hold on. There's been an objection. The grounds.
Sesión.
Your Honor, first of all,
Primero,
this witness testified he doesn't recall filing a claim, so I'm not sure what the relevance then would be of the question.
The question was, did he intend to?
I'll sustain the objection as to the form of the question. Please rephrase.
Do you recall at any time filing a police report?
¿Se acuerda en un momento usted de archivar un reporte de policía?
Sí.
Yes.
Last year, were you walking with the Catholic communities of Waukesha?
el 21 de noviembre del año pasado.
Actually.
Desfilando con Catholic Communities of Waukesha.
Es correcto.
That's correct.
Hold on. What was the
¿Qué
objection?
fue la acusación?
I mean, you already.
You have to speak up. I couldn't hear what you
I
said.
have a cold, so I
Tengo el
can't.
frío.
Mr. Brooks, was there an objection so I can move on?
Yeah, yes, there was
On
an
what
objection.
grounds?
En que
I can't even remember now.
ni me acuerdo ahora.
Well, if you were objecting on relevance, it's relevant. His answer may stand.
It wasn't relevant, so I'll tell you that.
Mr. Marquez,
Sí, Marquez.
if you hear the word objection,
Objection, me opongo.
please
Por
wait
favor, espere
until I rule
hasta
on the
que yo haga
objection
mi decisión o posición
before you answer.
antes que conteste.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Go ahead.
Adelante.
So we did answer the question?
¿Sí contestó la pregunta?
Sí.
Yes.
Thank you.
Muy bien, gracias.
You were with your wife and your son?
¿Estaba con su esposa y su hijo?
Sí.
Yes.
And your son's name is David Marquez?
Objection
¿El
leading.
nombre de su hijo es David Márquez?
Overruled. You called the witness. The state may lead. Go ahead and answer.
Conteste la pregunta, por favor. Si puede contestar.
What's that mean?
Go ahead and answer, sir.
Conteste, por favor.
Sí.
Yes.
You testified that at some point you were struck by a vehicle.
Objection.
Usted testificó en un momento que usted testificó que
Overruled.
fue pegado por un vehículo.
You may answer.
Puede contestar la pregunta.
Sí.
Yes.
Did you have any warning before you were struck by the car?
Objection.
¿Qué tipo de advertencia?
Hearsay.
Me aviso antes que fue chocado por el carro. Me pongo de evidencia por evidencia.
Overruled.
Anulada. La
The witness
acusación.
may answer.
Puede contestar la pregunta.
No.
No.
Did you hear a horn honking?
¿Escuchó
Objection.
una bocina, un claxón?
Hearsay.
¿Está sonando el vehículo? ¿Un claxón?
Overruled. The witness may answer.
Puede contestar la pregunta.
No.
No.
Sir, I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 161.
161.
Go ahead.
Adelante.
Can you see that picture on the screen in front of you?
¿Pantalla frente a usted? ¿Lo ve la imagen?
Sí.
Yes.
And do you see the approximate area where you landed after the vehicle struck you?
Usted fue al área aproximado. donde
Objection
se
leading.
cayó Después de que el vehículo
Overruled. The state may lead. It's not their witness.
No soy testigo.
Go ahead and answer, sir.
Adelante y conteste, por favor.
So I can lead too if it's not my witness?
No.
No.
Well, hold on. We'll get to that later.
Vamos a llegar a eso.
There's been an objection.
Con
I'm
acusación,
overruling
de
it.
anulada la acusación,
Go ahead and ask
adelante
your question.
y haga su
So the
pregunta.
state can do what they want. Got
Do
it.
you see the area in
Área
which you
donde
landed
usted
after
se
the
cayó
vehicle struck you?
Después que el vehículo lo chocó.
Sí.
Yes.
I'd ask that this exhibit be admitted to evidence, which is 161, and published to the jury.
Entonces,
Objection.
obligado, entonces 161.
We can't even see who's what exactly is the state referring to.
¿Qué se refiere al Estado?
You can't even see who it is. Of
No veo quién es.
Just state your objection.
Su
It's
oposición
overruled
anulada.
course it's gonna be overruled.
because it's attempt to testify. But if the state could just ask a few more foundational questions, please.
Certainly. When you met with the state, did you review some video of the parade?
Objection. Hearsay.
Me pongo de evidencia por evidencia.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
No puede contestar.
Sí.
Yes.
And after reviewing that video, were you able to determine the area in which your body landed after you were struck by the car?
Objection. Hearsay and leading.
Overruled as to both. You may answer, sir.
Después de que entonces se recibió entonces el choque del carro, determinó el área. ¿Se acuerda dónde su cuerpo quedó después de que el vehículo chocó?
Sí.
Yes.
And do you see that area on this exhibit?
Objection leading.
Esa área es el documento.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
¿Puede ver el área?
Sí.
Yes.
I'd ask that this
Every objection.
exhibit be admitted to evidence and published for the jury.
Objection. What's the relevancy?
The objections are noted. They are overruled. And Exhibit 161 is received. Permission to publish is granted.
And it's indicated that that is now being seen in the jury box. Sir, the screen in front of you is a touch screen. Can you circle the area in which you believe you landed?
Objection leading.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
How do you say where they believe? Either you know or you don't.
The witness may answer.
Sí.
Yes.
Ridiculous.
Can you do that now?
Puede ser eso, entonces marcar el lugar donde se cayó.
That's where it gets fixed the whole case.
If we can take a snapshot of that.
I don't know what Mr. Brooks just mumbled, but it's not his turn to ask questions. There was no objection. The jury will disregard that.
And this would be Exhibit 161A.
Object.
And we'll screen capture that. Exhibit 161A has been captured. Are you moving that in?
I am.
And Exhibit 161 is received. 61A.
Thank you. And do you see anyone that you recognize standing in that area?
Objection leading.
Overruled. The state may lead. It's cross-examination of your witness,
So I
sir.
can lead on cross-examination then?
I direct your attention to 906.11 sub
Can I
3,
lead on
sir.
cross-examination?
I'm not going to answer that. Go ahead,
So
sir. You may
judicial
answer.
determination that you don't have to answer that? If I don't understand something?
The jury will disregard the comments being made by Mr. Brooks.
Judicial determination, okay.
Go ahead and answer the question if you recall it, sir.
¿Me puede repetir la pregunta?
Could you repeat the question?
Yes. Do you see David, your son, in that picture?
Objection.
Su hijo en esa foto.
That
Sí.
way,
Posición.
Yes.
And is he wearing?
so my objection is not going to be noted.
The objection is overruled. The state chose to ask a different question. That's fine.
And is he seated near some blue chairs, wearing a blue jacket?
Objection leading.
Si es azul,
Overruled. You may answer, sir.
Sí.
Yes.
And sir, is that you laying down? And you can see in this picture your legs, and they're hanging into the roadway.
Objection leading.
Witness may answer. Overruled.
extendidas en el camino. ¿Lo ve?
Sí.
Yes.
Now, is that where you were walking when you were struck from behind? In
Objection
that
leading.
position?
Chocado desde atrás en posición. Ya pongo evidencia por ahí. Evidencia.
Overruled. You may answer.
No puede contestar la pregunta.
No.
No.
Fueron sus
Objection leading.
Overruled.
Pongo pregunta encima, anulada.
La fíbula
My fibula
y ligamentos.
and ligaments.
Your fibula was broken?
Objection
Toda su
leading.
fíbula.
Speculative.
Overruled as to both.
That's
The
not
witness
what he
may
said.
answer.
Sí.
Yes.
And you had torn ligaments?
Tiene entonces.
Objection leading.
Overruled.
Puede contestar.
You didn't say that in the question before?
Sí.
Yes.
And were those both in the same leg?
Eso sería
Objection
ese mismo.
leading.
Pongo pregunta encima.
Sí.
Sorry.
Yes.
Overruled.
Anulada la pregunta.
If we
Of course.
just wait when there's an
Cuando hay una
objection.
posición,
I'm overruling it. It's relevant. It's not leading. The witness's answers may stand.
I mean, yeah, you overrule every objection.
And the jury will disregard the additional commentary made by Mr. Brooks at this time.
Judicial misconduct at its finest.
And which leg was that, sir?
Objection, asked and answered.
Overruled.
anulada.
You may answer.
Puede contestar la pregunta.
El pie izquierdo.
My left leg.
Did you have to have surgery on that leg?
Objection leading.
Overruled.
Posición, pregunta encima, anulada.
Sí.
Let's
Yes.
see what y'all
Just one?
Nada más una cirugía.
trying to get here.
Dos.
2.
That's not gonna work either.
Mr. Brooks, you are
Brooks.
advised to stop with the commentary.
No, I'm gonna say what I want.
You
to say.
called this witness. I'm going to take a break right now and excuse the jury and this witness.
All right.
What you doing is judicial misconduct. Judicial misconduct. But you don't want the jury to hear the truth. That's not fair to the jury. They have a right to hear everything. Not finna sit here and let you fix the trial because you don't want to tell the truth to the jury.
Mr. Brooks, please stop.
No, ain't no please.
You are
nothing.
being disruptive.
Ain't
You
no
are being
please, nothing.
disrespectful.
You always
The
gonna
witness
find
may
some
step
reason to
down.
say somebody's being disruptive because they want the truth to be out there. Man, quit it. You supposed to be the
Mr.
judge.
Brooks, I'm advising you that continued interruptions will result in you forfeiting your right to be present
and
in this
under
courtroom
what law and
during
fact can you do that?
Illinois versus Allen.
Okay,
sir.
but the fourth option that you made up, that's not even in the law. Just 1 second. And for the record, I don't consent to that name. My name is Darrell Brooks Jr.
Noted for the record. I intend to have the jury brought out. I presume you're ready to go?
Having a slight issue finding certain.
Can you sit up because I'm not hearing you very well, so that the microphone picks you up, please?
I'm having a slight issue locating some of the files that I need. That's what I was trying to say.
All right, we'll take a moment.
Your Honor, I have a question.
Go ahead.
The files that I'm attempting to locate are pertains directly to the witnesses that I will be calling. I'm not sure what witnesses are here today.
Well, let's do this. I'd like you to at least do your opening statement, bring the jury and do that. We'll give you an opportunity to look again. I can have the state write down who's here. I believe it's based on what you told them, and then if there's still something you need at that point, but I'd like to at least bring the jury out and start with your opening statement, okay?
Well, just so I'm clear, I didn't give a specific order in who I will be calling by specific order. I gave a generalization of
Sure, I'll
who
have the
would be-
state. Sorry.
who would be called on what day.
Why don't I have the state write down who's here presently, and then you can make that determination, but at least let's go with the opening statement, okay?
That's what I was trying to get at. It would help to know who's actually here today.
Before you make your opening statement?
Well, so I know if they're not here, then essentially I can't call them.
Let's address that after. I'll have the state write down who they know to be here now or who's coming this afternoon, because there might have been people here this morning. I believe they're still here, but I'll let them write that down for you so you can better prepare. But at this point, I would like to bring the jury out for your opening statement. I presume you're going to give one.
I am.
Okay. Then
Yeah.
I'll have the jury brought out, okay?
Subject matter jurisdiction?
My prior written decision stands. I will not be addressing that further. Your objection is noted, and I will be continuing with the trial.
Is it verified proof for the record?
Sir, I don't believe I need to do that, or that the state needs to do that as well. I believe your statement about that is a misstatement of the law, and I do not intend to pursue that further.
Can you show me lawful law that says that?
I gave you a written decision. I have done that.
Can you show me lawful law that verifies that?
Sir,
For the record.
I gave you a written decision. You
that
can,
I accepted for value in return for
and
value.
that's how I'm going to answer that. So
it was
let's
not verified proof. We still aren't.
Sir, there is no requirement in the law that the state or the court establish that. So your
Actually, there is.
objection's noted.
All rise.
Actually, there is, Your Honor. Subject matter jurisdiction has
Sir,
to be
please.
proven for the record. Has
It
to
does
be
not.
proven. Has to be proven. You know that just as well as
Mr. Brooks,
you know that.
please do not make statements that mischaracterize the law
You know it has to be proven
or that
for the
impugn the
record.
integrity of this
You
court
know it has to be proven
and the
on the
proceedings
record.
here.
You know
The
it
jury
has
is
to be proven.
advised to disregard the statements that Mr. Brooks is making regarding subject matter jurisdiction. They are not evidence, and you are to disregard them.
They're not presented as evidence. Just has yet to be proven for the record.
The jury will disregard the incorrect statements of the law that Mr. Brooks is stating.
Where's lawful law that is incorrect?
Mr. Brooks, please. I am going to read one instruction. The opening statements are not evidence. With that, go ahead, sir.
Obviously, I don't have any rehearsed or well-prepared speech, so I'm just going to speak from the heart. I would just like to first say that I want to bring to remembrance something I think everyone in this room has been taught pretty much as far back as we can remember, is that there's always two sides to every story. And for so long now, roughly a year, there's only truly been one side told of this story. And I've sat back and watched from countless narratives that's been put out there, the way this incident has been portrayed at times, and finally everyone getting a chance to get the full story. You won't hear me try to argue facts. The fact is that this incident was tragic, very tragic. That's not lost on me. Facts are that there's still a lot of people healing, a lot of families healing on both sides. And when I'm confident that the evidence will show, sorry, I'm getting a little emotional. When I'm confident that the evidence will show is that this incident was not planned. This incident was not intentional. And this incident was never even thought about. It's easy to I'm sorry. Just need a second. I think it's easy to look at the magnitude of something like this and form opinions. I think it's easy to disregard a lot of factors, and I think in reference to what I stated earlier, it's easy to forget the other side of the coin. There's been a lot of suffering involved in this incident, a lot. Obviously, with the families, with the community, and even the alleged defendant's family as well. There's been a lot of suffering, a lot of misunderstanding, and I just want you to keep in mind everything that will be presented in its totality. Keep in mind the power that you have. I believe that shouldn't escape your knowledge. This has been a long process for everybody. And what I believe is when it's time for you to make your decision, all of you, I believe that, and I pray that it's the right decision, that all the factors are weighed. There's been a lot of words thrown out there about the alleged. A lot of speculation, a lot of ridicule. Words like demon. Words like monster. I know a lot of the time I've been before you see me with this mask on. I've had my reasons for that. But I feel now is the time to, it's important that you see me for who I am. No mask, for who I am. I think this is the moment for that. I pray that your eyes and ears remain as open as possible. And understand that you alone decide this matter. The power is in your hands. All of you. To determine for yourselves what truth is. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And do we have their writing materials available?
All rise.
Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. Or you may call your first witness. Actually, your second witness.
The defense would like to call the plaintiff, state of Wisconsin, to the stand.
Object. The objection is noted. It is sustained. Call your next witness, please.
Reason for the sustain?
Not relevant. And you haven't named a person to go along with it.
The subpoena was accepted, Your Honor.
I'll take the issue up outside the presence of the jury if necessary. Call your next witness, please.
Well, I would like to make an oral tennis motion to dismiss for failure to appear by the plaintiff and for failure to state a claim from which relief can be granted.
I will take that up outside the presence of the jury. Next witness, please.
So is the state not present?
Mr. Brooks, I'm not going to address that any further while the jury's present. I'll take that up outside their presence. Call your next witness, please.
The defense calls Nicholas Kirby.
All right. Nicholas Kirby. Is that a witness who's in the hallway? Do we know?
I don't believe in the hallway, but we will have him brought over, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. It'll be just a moment or two while we wait for that witness to come into the courtroom. Sir, would you please make your way to the witness stand? It is up one riser to my right. When you get there, please remain standing. Raise your right hand and my cue. Go ahead, sir, your witness.
Good afternoon, Mr. Kirby. How are you today?
I'm here.
What do you do for a living?
Mostly temp work.
Do you recall the events of November 21st of 2021?
All too well.
And what were you doing that day?
What time of the day?
Around 3 o'clock-ish.
3 o'clock-ish. Around 3 o'clock-ish, I was walking with Corey around Waukesha. Earlier, well, yeah.
And you made reference to walking with Corey. Who is Corey?
Corey is a friend of Miss Patterson's.
And would it be fair to say that it's also a friend of yours?
Mutual friend, yes.
In reference to Corey?
Yes.
Oh. And what were you doing?
Walking around Waukesha, she was waiting for Miss Patterson to get done meeting with Mr. Brooks. You?
At 3 o'clock?
Around 3 o'clock-ish. Around that time, I had advised her not to go meet with Mr. Brooks.
You made reference to Mr. Brooks. Who's that?
That would be you.
And why would you say it would be you? That's you.
Because that's your name.
And you were privy to that information at the time?
I was privy to the information about you about a week prior to this incident.
About a week prior. And during your walking around, what were you doing with Corey?
Walking, like literally walking. We went from one store to walking around downtown after Erica told us she was going to be going to meet with Mr. Brooks. That would be you. I had advised her not to do it because it was a bad idea, and I was in fear for her safety.
You made reference to going from one store to another. What stores are you referencing?
Dollar General and Speedway.
Did you go anywhere else?
No.
Did you ever go to a park?
No.
You made reference to knowing about a Brooks a week prior to these events, you said?
I didn't know everything about him. Miss Patterson had showed me his rap sheet, if you will, and a picture of him, and that was about it. I had heard prior
I'm going to stop the witness unless you want him to go there, not to discuss what may or may not be conduct of Mr. Brooks prior to November 21 of 2021.
Okay.
With that understanding, go ahead and ask the next question.
You made reference to a picture you were shown.
Just a photograph with a rap sheet behind it.
About what time did you and your mutual friend Corey meet up with Miss Patterson?
Miss Patterson called me and said that she was.
About what time was the question? About what time?
And I'm getting to that.
I'll direct the witness answer his question specifically. What time?
Honestly, around what time the parade started. I would have to say like dusk. I honestly don't wear a watch, so sorry, I don't remember the time. But if I had to put it at a time, I'd probably say about 4:35-ish.
Let's back up a little bit. Around what time did you and your mutual friend Corey first hook up that day?
I had worked that whole day, so we didn't meet up until I was done working, which was probably about 2:30, 3 o'clock.
And at some point, you received a phone call from Miss Patterson?
Yes.
You yourself?
Yes.
And then at that point, what did you do?
When she told me that she was in trouble and she needed help, I went to her aid, which means I took off from where I was near Dollar General and ran to where she told me to go.
And when you got there, what did you see?
When I got there, halfway towards White Rock Elementary, I stopped a police officer at a barricade and I let him know that a woman was being assaulted in a vehicle.
And do you recall giving a description of who may have been assaulting your friend?
No.
Why not?
Because at that point in time, the description didn't matter. I had the identity of the vehicle. So I told them you need to be looking for a red SUV with a woman screaming out of it.
And how did you come into the knowledge of the description of the vehicle?
Because I saw the vehicle.
At what point did you see the vehicle?
When Corey and I were walking up White Rock Avenue on the apartment building side of White Rock, which would have been my right if you were walking towards the train tracks that cross White Rock. On my left was White Rock Elementary. I walked past the red vehicle, didn't realize that she was in that vehicle. Then Corey and I crossed the street to White Rock Elementary and started walking down the sidewalk, and I heard her scream, Miss Patterson scream. I don't remember exactly what she said, but she screamed and I knew it was her, so I walked back across the street and escorted her across the street over to White Rock Elementary.
I don't think that's what I asked.
I'm just giving you full description.
Let's back up a little bit because that doesn't make sense. You stated that you had a description of the vehicle. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
The question was, how did you learn of the description of the vehicle at that point?
Miss Patterson told me over the phone that she was in a red SUV. There aren't many red SUVs with young women screaming for help in Waukesha.
So I'm assuming, because you made reference to stopping law enforcement before arriving to the scene. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
So I'm assuming somewhere in the time of you stopping the law enforcement officer to report what you were being told, and then actually walking past the vehicle as you said you did, and then hearing this and all this, did you give a full report to law enforcement?
At the time when someone was in help and needed help immediately, absolutely not. I said there's a woman being attacked in a red SUV, you need to call for backup. Now.
And then you just ran.
And then I
away?
ran towards the person that needed help.
How did you come into the knowledge of where officers turned and went?
Because me, Erica, and Corey were arguing with Mr. Brooks on the side of the road of White Rock, right in front of White Rock Elementary. And the officer that I had stopped at the barricade when we were coming to Miss Patterson's aid had radioed for backup, and obviously given them description of the vehicle that I had described to them, the red SUV. That backup came, but they went to Frame Park. They did not go to where we were on White Rock.
Any idea why they went to Frame Park if you specifically told them a description of a vehicle and where it was located?
I did not tell them where the vehicle was located because at first incident, Mr. Brooks had taken off in his SUV.
And at some point you said you heard your friend Miss Patterson screaming?
Yes.
And do you recall what she was screaming? I said, do he recall?
As for the question, he's asking, did he hear? So you may answer. It's a yes or no.
I do not. Yes, she screamed. Do I remember what? She was trying to say, no, I'm guessing it would be help. I'm in trouble. I would assume that that's what a person would scream when they're in trouble, is for help.
Do we still have the exhibit with the footage from the White Rock School available?
The security footage?
The security footage, I'm sorry.
We do. Would the state be willing to pull that up?
I guess I need the defendant to identify which exhibit he would like us to publish.
There's 3 and 4. Door 1 and door 2 is what I have.
I'm sorry, you said do.
Exhibits 3 and 4 have been received. One is of the White Rock door 1, the other is White Rock door 2. I believe those are the videos you're referring to.
Let's try door 2.
Okay, that's exhibit 4. Let's just put it up for the witness initially, make sure it's the one Mr. Brooks wants. I appreciate the state with their assistance. Can you see that on your monitor, Mr. Brooks? Is this the one you're looking at?
Yeah, I can see it.
I believe there's 2 clips from this, but go ahead.
Can you? This one is roughly 7 minutes, so I would need a little bit of it played, if possible.
It's been received, so go ahead. It'll be published, so everyone can see.
Well, before it's published, can you show it to the witness?
That's fine. We'll just play for the witness then.
I'm sorry, I should have said that before.
It's playing, so we'll let it go. I'm not sure if this is the video you're looking for, though.
It might be. Think it might be door 1.
No.
It's exhibit 3.
No, maybe not. Let's watch. I could be wrong.
I was kind of thinking that too.
Take a look. Of course, none of our statements right now are any kind of evidence. We're just trying to get to the right spot.
Can you
pause right now at 105?
105. Can you back it up a few seconds? Not 2 or 3, but maybe 5 seconds, 6 seconds, maybe.
It's at 59 seconds. The witness. It is on the witness stand, by the way, just so you're aware.
Okay.
He's watching it.
Can you play from here? don't think it's playing.
It's playing.
Oh, okay. Pause right there. From what you can see in this video, do you see anyone get in or out of the vehicle that you see on your screen?
Miss Patterson has just exited the vehicle.
Just for the record, the video was played. It's Exhibit 4 from 56 seconds to 1:21. Go ahead.
I didn't hear the answer.
Miss Patterson was the one that exited the red SUV.
You saw someone exit.
Yes.
Can you rewind it back?
To what? Again.
Do you want it back to 56 seconds?
No, to 105, where it was paused the first time.
Okay. Thank you for attempting to do that, Ms. Gussie. It is paused at 1:05. Do you want to play from here?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Did you see anyone from, in the video that you're being shown now, from about the 1 minute and 5 second mark to where it's paused right now at 1 minute and 21 seconds? Did you observe anyone get in or out of the vehicle?
I'm going to take back what I said earlier. Apparently, according to this video, she did not exit your vehicle. She was behind the White Rock sign. That's why I did not see her.
Did you see anyone get into the vehicle?
Later on, within the incident, yes.
On the video that you are able to view right now, from the 1 minute and 5 second mark to the 1 minute and 21 second mark, did you observe anyone get into the vehicle?
No.
Can you publish for the jury?
You want to replay it again?
Yes.
Go ahead. We'll start at the close to the minute mark as possible.
Again, is that where the defendant would like it started?
Around the 105, around that area.
105, Exhibit 4.
I know we have to wait for the jury, right?
Right,
Okay.
and then you want it to the minute 21 mark again?
Yes,
All right,
if I may.
Go ahead.
And at that time, were you already en route to where you believe your friend was being assaulted at?
Objection calls for speculation. This defendant has not even put this witness at this location at this time. He's just having him testify about what he's seeing in video.
I understand the objection. It's sustained. Please establish some foundation for this witness being present at that location. Or more information about the incident.
Were you present at this time?
We were on White Rock Avenue, but we were not in the general location of the school as of yet. As of that point in time.
So to your recollection, you didn't see anything that you're seeing right now on this video. You did not see the day of the incident?
No, I definitely saw Miss Patterson in a red SUV that day.
Did you see?
At this specific time, no. Because I was down the road on White Rock talking to an officer who was manning the intersection of Hartwell and White Rock. And reporting at that time.
Can we play a little bit more, if I may?
Objection as to relevance. If he wants to direct the video to a certain time that, and he would like to ask this witness about that particular time, if the witness saw that, that's fine. But he can't go through each video and say, and ask general questions.
There's only been one video that's been shown.
I'm going to give Mr. Brooks some leeway on this. The video is to be played from this moment, and then Mr. Brooks, tell us when you want it to stop.
Okay. What I'm attempting to do for the record, Your Honor, is
Just play the video and you can ask your question.
All right.
Go ahead.
Can you pause it right there?
Video's paused at 1:38.
By what you are viewing in this video right now, had you and your mutual friend Corey linked up with Miss Patterson at that point?
At this point in time in the video, given from what I've just seen, that was when Erica was on the phone trying to get a hold of me. We were already on White Rock at that point in time. We were not near the school at that point in time, though.
So that was when you would, to your recollection, that's when you would say the phone call to you was made?
One of the phone calls, yes, she made multiple phone calls to me, I think probably about 6. I had been having issues with my phone that day, so it had been turned on and off multiple times. The final time that it was turned on was when I picked up her phone call, and she said, "I need help, I'm in trouble, come help me. I'm being assaulted." That's when I left.
You just made reference to that point in the vehicle being, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm so drained. That point in the video was when you made reference to that point in the video being when you received the phone call.
Yes. A phone call out of multiple from her.
That's fair, a phone call. Would it be fair to say, though, that, and this is in reference to you saying that you were having issues with your phone that day, would it be fair to say that you're not sure how many phone calls you had received that day or who they were from?
I only received 51 phone calls on my phone that day, that I actually do know. 6 of which belonged to her.
And all around the same time?
All around the time. She obviously didn't want to get off the phone because no one calls me 6 times in a row unless they need some help.
Can we continue to play from 1:38?
Go ahead.
Can you pause right there very quick?
Paused at 1 minute 47 seconds.
Do you see in this video your friend Miss Patterson walking back in the direction that she had just come from?
I see her on the phone talking to someone, which I assume would be me, telling me where
Mr. Kirby, I need you to answer the specific question that's being asked at the moment, okay?
All right.
Thank you.
Yes, I see her on White Rock on the phone walking back in the direction she was originally.
Again, Your Honor, I'm going to object
from.
to this line of questioning unless the defendant can put this witness there. I don't know what the relevance of this testimony is.
I didn't even get
The
to that
exhibit
point.
has been received, it's been published previously.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to give Mr. Brooks some leeway here. Overruled. I would like you to get to where you need to go, though.
That was the next question. At this point in the video, had you yet come into a range where you and your mutual friend Corey, had you yet come into a range where you can see Miss Patterson at that point?
Corey was the one that spotted her first.
Could you yourself see her at that point?
I heard her scream. That's what caught my attention.
And you made reference to that scream being heard from inside the vehicle. Would that be fair to say?
Yes, because that's where she was when she called me. And I was still on the phone with her while going down White Rock Avenue. Even while I was talking to the officer, I said, I'm on the phone with her right now. I'm trying to figure out where she is. Can you please call for backup? So we continued down White Rock to look for Miss Patterson.
Would it be fair to say that in the phone call you received, she told you where she was at, and that's the area that you were generally responding to with your mutual friend Corey?
Miss Patterson doesn't know Waukesha. I knew the area she was talking about because I live in that area.
Would it be fair to say that you just testified to when you had the interaction with law enforcement that you stated you're on the phone with her right now trying to figure out where she was? So would it be fair to say at that point you didn't know where she was?
I knew that she was on White Rock. I didn't know exactly where or how far down on White Rock she was at that point in time. At that specific time, I did not know. It wasn't until I seen a red SUV parked in front of the apartment buildings on White Rock that I figured that might be the one that she was in. It was Corey who spotted her across from the road.
Circle. Thank you. So at this point right here where the video is paused, 4:18, you weren't able to observe Miss Patterson on White Rock Avenue at that point?
Ask my answer.
Huh?
Overruled, the witness may answer.
I was not looking ahead of me. As you can tell by the video, I was looking at my phone trying to call Miss Patterson back because she was not answering her phone. That scared me. So I told Corey to keep an eye out look for her as I tried to keep calling her. When I looked up and we got past the White Rock Elementary School sign, that was when I seen her.
Would it be fair to say that judging from the video, the White Rock, let me back up. Are you referring to the sign right here that says White Rock Campus?
I'm referring to where the end of the school building itself meets the driveway or the road that's there. There's a turn-off road.
I apologize. Can we take that X from next to the White Rock Campus sign? So can you point to exactly what you're referring to?
Where that intersection is, where I just drew that little X, that intersection cuts across from the other side of White Rock to the other side and leads to a road, but also there's the Frame Park area there, and I believe there's a boat launch there somewhere. I don't know.
And at that point, you were able to observe Miss Patterson?
I observed her walking when Corey had told me that she had seen her. And so we grabbed her and started to leave to turn around. At that point in time, an officer was coming to Frame Park because of the report that I had given.
So you observed Miss Patterson walking and not inside of a vehicle?
At that point in time, no.
No, as in?
As in she was not in a vehicle at that point in time when we finally came upon her.
So when, if at any time did you observe Miss Patterson inside of a vehicle?
When she was going back into his vehicle to get her things or whatever it was that she was trying to pull out of his car, her phone or something or whatever.
Can we play the video from 4:18?
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can we clear the X?
Continuing to
Sorry
play
about
from
that.
4:18. It's at 4:21, but go ahead.
Pause right here. Is it fair to say it stopped at 4 minutes and 38 seconds? Is it fair to say from the video that two people right there are crossing the road?
Yes.
And do you know the identity of those two people?
That's me and Miss Corey.
Would it be fair to say that at that time you observed Miss Patterson?
That was when I first noticed the red Jeep, or red SUV, whatever you want to call it, across the street. We had zigzagged up White Rock, going from one side to another looking for Erica. When we ended up on this side, the red SUV was parked in front of the apartment buildings. There was a tree here, and Miss Erica came from the passenger side of the vehicle around the back. That's when I heard her yell something. That's when I went over.
You made reference to Miss Patterson coming from around the vehicle?
Coming from the passenger side, so I had assumed that she had just gotten out of the vehicle.
Do you know that for sure?
If I didn't see her earlier when I was on White Rock, or a vehicle earlier on White Rock, how could I know?
Did you see her in the vehicle at that time?
I seen her come from around the vehicle. I am not actually sure if she was in the vehicle at that point in time.
Thank you.
I was just going by what she said over the phone.
Okay.
So my
understood.
assumption is that she was in a vehicle.
All right, next question.
If it pleases Your Honor, do we have a better view of this point in particular?
I don't know.
Maybe on Exhibit 3 might be a better view of this
If you have a
particular
specific spot to direct the state to, then I will have them do that, but
Can we view Exhibit 3?
do you have a specific spot to direct the state to on Exhibit 3?
I'm not sure. It's been, I don't know how long since we viewed that exhibit. I don't know how long it is.
I'm just reviewing my notes. If there's a specific spot that you recall, I might be able to direct the state to that. But you'll have to give me a little more information.
Okay. I think that's why I was stating about the length of the video. I'm pretty sure I would know the exact spot. I don't know how long that video is. It's towards the end of it. I know that for sure.
Can you ask your next question? You need to be able to tell the state with more specificity which part of which exhibit and at what point.
Well, I know the exhibit. The exhibit would be 3, and the spot, judging on the length of the exhibit, would be towards the end of the exhibit.
And you're sure it's Exhibit 3? Would it be
That would be White Rock Door 1, correct?
That's my understanding.
It's fair to say that we can see you and Miss Corey running towards the area of the vehicle that just stopped. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And where was Miss Patterson at this time, if you recall?
At that point in time, she had met up with Corey. Corey had walked ahead of me, and her and I were looking for her. I didn't see her right away. Corey did, and she just told me she's in a red car. So that's what we were looking for.
At that time, was Miss Patterson inside of the vehicle?
I do not recall. But what I do recall is the owner of the vehicle getting out of the vehicle, and that became my primary concern.
Let's hold fast a little bit. We observed the two, you and Miss Corey, running towards the area of the vehicle. Why such the urgency?
Miss Patterson is a mutual friend of ours. She said she was in trouble. I don't play around when people are in trouble.
Can we play it from, it's paused at 3 minutes and 8 seconds. Can we play a little bit of it from there?
Go ahead.
Pause right there. Can you see Miss Patterson? It's paused at 3 minutes and 11 seconds. Do you see Miss Patterson in this video? Where's
Yes.
paused at right now?
Yes.
Is she inside the vehicle?
No, she is not.
Had you seen her before that?
Corey had spotted her, not me, before that. She did.
But it is fair to say that you're also in the area at
I
that
am
time, correct?
not in this general frame, no. I'm
Not
actually outside
not
of the frame.
not the video, but you are present on the scene. Would that
Oh,
be fair to
yes.
say?
Yes.
And what happened at this point, if you recall?
At this point, there was a physical altercation between Mr. Brooks and Miss Corey and Miss Erica. I was more worried about Miss Patterson being hurt, so I went for her to get her out of the way. I stepped between them as best I could, and I told Mr. Brooks he needs to leave. He needs to get out of here. Does not belong out here.
Can we play it from 3 minutes and 11 seconds, please?
Go ahead.
Pause it right there. Did you see yourself come into the frame in this vehicle at that
Yes.
point? Would that be you there?
Yes.
It would be fair to say that you had some type of jacket on, or a black jacket?
At one point,
that
yes.
evening? What happened to your jacket? Point?
That jacket hit the ground as soon as Mr. Brooks started going for the two women.
So you threw the jacket off?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
And what was your reason for throwing the jacket off?
Well, if the court don't hate me for it, I'm just going to say it's a good thing that there were two women in my way at that point in time.
And what do you mean by that?
That means when my jacket comes off, trouble's going to happen. Especially if you're trying to assault a woman in front of me.
So that gesture was an aggressive gesture.
Oh, that was a completely focused gesture.
Well, you did make reference to, let me back up. Would it be fair to say that you just made reference to trouble following you throwing off your jacket?
No, not trouble following me.
Well, maybe that's the wrong way to put it, but
I'm
there would
confused
be
by your
trouble.
question.
Excuse me?
Can you rephrase your question?
Oh, I will. I'm sorry about that. You made reference to there being trouble when your jacket comes off. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Would it be fair to say that that would be, or that could be, perceived as an aggressive gesture?
You mean as an...
Objection calls for speculation. How it's perceived calls for speculation.
Sustained as to the form of the question.
And how long before the incident on November 21 of 2021 had you known Miss Patterson up until that point?
Probably maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks.
I want to back up to the phone call that you received from Miss Patterson.
Okay.
When she called you, did she give you a name of whoever may have been assaulting her?
She didn't have to. She was meeting one person that day, and I knew exactly who he was because she had showed me his picture and rap sheet prior. Her child's father, the father of their 15-year-old daughter, is who she was meeting up with that day.
Do you recall stating, well, actually, you testified to that here today, Do you recall stating that you walked past the red SUV that was parked?
Yes.
Would it be fair to say from the two exhibit videos that we watched today that you in fact did not walk past any SUV?
I most definitely walked past an SUV that was red on White Rock Avenue. Whether or not it was your specific SUV, it was still a red SUV. Up until this point, knowing Miss Patterson, I didn't know anything about the father of her child. I didn't know anything about his background except for what she showed me over the phone. Anything about his vehicle description, why would she need to tell me that?
Is it fair to say that the video doesn't show you walking past any red SUV?
If the video,
Is that fair to say?
If the video proves that, then yes.
Well, in the report that was taken from you by a detective, do you yourself recall stating that the alleged defendant tried to punch and push you?
The alleged defendant being you? Yes. Attempted to.
Would it be fair to say from the video that it doesn't show you being pushed or?
No, it does not. It shows me pulling two women away from the situation.
Any reason why you would state to detectives that the alleged defendant attempted to punch and push you?
Probably because there were three different people's fists flying, and I was just trying to get the people that I cared about out of the way of danger. So if my statement to the detective is off a little bit after watching a bunch of people get run over, I can understand why.
So you were at the parade that day?
I was not at the parade that day. I was in the area.
So
trying to get back to my house.
So how can you watch people being run over if you weren't at the parade that day?
I wasn't attending the parade. I was in the area that the parade route was in. My street is the parade route.
Did you see anyone injured that day?
During
the parade?
Yes, after I walked back through that area.
You saw someone get injured?
I saw a red SUV take off like a bat out of hell down Main Street and go through a crowd of people.
The question was, did you see this take place?
With my own freaking eyes, yes. How many times do I have to say yes for you to understand it? YES spells yes.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I don't know how to...
Are you moving to strike the last response?
Yeah.
The jury will disregard the last response. I'm just going to remind both of you, please answer the questions that are asked, and follow-up needs to take place. Either Mr. Brooks or the state will ask.
Is it fair to, well, in reference to the Exhibit 3 video that we just viewed?
You're talking about the one by the elementary school?
Yeah, the one
Okay.
the one that we just viewed,
Just checking.
which would be Exhibit 3. Is it fair to say from that vehicle, got me...
Videos.
I'm sorry. From that video, is it fair to say from that video that, in fact, there are not three people throwing punches? Would that be fair to say?
There are three people throwing hands in that video. Erica, Corey, and Mr. Brooks. Not myself. If you watch the video, you will see three pairs of hands go up towards one another. Whether one is stepping in to pull someone away from another or not, hands are being brought up.
Do you recall where you went after that altercation?
You mean where me and the two girls went? Where me and Miss Patterson and Miss Corey went?
Where you and the
two
friends went? Yes.
We started walking back We turned to walk back the direction we had came, so taking White Rock to Main Street, and then cutting through the neighborhood there to get over to where the women's shelter was. That was where we were going at that point in time. However, things took a drastic turn when the red SUV that I have described multiple times went down the opposite direction of White Rock Avenue, across the railroad tracks and the intersection of Perkins and White Rock, and then turned back around and came back down. That is what you saw in the video here when the red vehicle pulled up on the school side of White Rock. After the altercation between Miss Patterson, Mr. Brooks, Miss Corey, and myself, the three of us, Miss Patterson, Miss Corey, we started to leave. I told Mr. Brooks, you need to get out of here. The police have been called. You need to leave. You need to leave now. You do not belong here. I did not expect.
Can you strike everything that's not pertaining to the question that was asked?
Actually, I'm just describing the entire event in its entirety.
I understand. I'll strike the response as being non-responsive to the question. The jury is to disregard it. Re-ask your question again.
Okay. Do you recall where you and your two female friends went after the altercation?
We started to head back in the direction of the women's shelter where they lived, where they were staying at the time.
Do you recall at any point during your travels to the women's shelter, as you referred to it, do you recall at any time coming into contact with another law enforcement officer?
Within that point in time, no. You are referring to November 21st?
Correct.
Okay.
During that interaction with the second law enforcement officer, do you yourself recall stating that a black guy just assaulted my friend?
No.
Any reason why the officer would report that?
Objection calls for speculation.
Rounds.
Sustained. Calls for speculation.
Did you yourself sustain any injuries during the altercation?
I ripped open 3 stitches on my hand, but that was more so from pulling Miss Corey away from Mr. Brooks so we could get out of there.
Did you report to any law enforcement? Well, I guess that would refer to the second law enforcement officer that you spoke with. Did you report that to that officer?
No. Because at the time I didn't notice it. I didn't notice my hand was ripped open again until I got home.
So it would be fair to say that you don't know how those stitches opened up. Would that be fair to say?
No, I'm pretty sure I know how they opened. My stitches got caught on the zipper on Corey's backpack. That's how the stitches were ripped out of my hand when I was trying to pull her away from Mr. Brooks and intervene between her, Mr. Brooks, and Miss Patterson.
Knowing a little bit about stitches, would it be fair to say that a wound that was stitched being reopened would cause a little bit of pain? Would that be fair to say?
Objection. Relevance.
Rounds.
Sustained. Relevance.
Did you notice any blood from the stitches being reopened?
Didn't feel anything until I actually looked at it when I got home. 12 stitches coming across my thumb in kind of like a fish hook type pattern. There was the 2 over here that ripped open and the 1 up here. Or actually, I take that back, the 1 up here.
So just for the record, he's holding his left hand. He had his thumb out, extended almost like an L, but with the other fingers almost like a C, and he was pointing to his left thumb, near, I would say, the middle of the thumb, and then the curve of the thumb where on the inside where it goes up toward the index finger. Sorry, I have to make a
Now-
record of all.
No, that's fine.
Go ahead.
So was it 2 stitches that opened or 3?
Objection, relevance.
Grounds.
Overruled. He may answer, but then move on.
It was 3.
And do you recall what time you made it home that evening?
Absolutely not.
Was it immediately after the altercation or sometime after? Or
No, I took the girls back to the shelter, and then I started running back towards Main Street to try and see if I could avoid the parade traffic. And that's when I saw the red SUV go down Main Street.
And do you recall speaking with your women friends after you had made it home that evening?
Yes.
Did at any time you indicate to them that you...
Objection, hearsay.
Hold on. Let him finish the question. He was asking what he indicated
strike
to
the
them.
question. I thought that's what I said.
You can ask your question. That's what I thought you were saying too.
Did you yourself at any time indicate to your female friends that you had sustained an injury during the altercation?
No.
Objection, relevance.
Overruled. His answer may stand.
In the time that you had known Miss Patterson up until that day of November 21st of 2021, had you yourself ever heard Miss Patterson refer to the alleged defendant by a different name?
Objection, relevance.
Grounds.
Overruled. The witness may answer if he knows.
No. You mean like an alias or something?
A different name.
Well, okay, that can a nickname and alias. I mean, let's be specific here.
Did Miss Patterson ever refer to him with another name, if you recall?
Not that I can personally recall. No, ma'am.
All right. Thank you.
No further questions?
Before I decide whether to do cross at this time, how long do you believe it will be?
0 minutes because I have no cross.
All right, thank you. And you can step down. And we're going to take a break.
Thank you, ma'am.
Give me a second. I'll rise for the jury. Let me excuse the jury. All right, thank you. You may be seated. You may step down, sir. And I presume he may be released from his subpoena, Mr. Brooks. You're done questioning him?
Yeah, I don't think he's no longer needed.
All right, you are released from your subpoena, sir. Thank you. All right, let's take about a 15-minute break. Anything we need to address prior to that, or can we do it when we come back?
No, thank you.
All right, Mr. Brooks, work with the state. Go ahead, sir. You may call your next witness.
Defense calls Heather R. Reamer.
Thank you. The first thing I will ask you to do is to state your first and last names for the record and then spell each.
Heather Reamer, Heather Riemer.
Thank you. Go ahead, sir, your witness.
Good afternoon, Ms. Reamer. How are you feeling today?
I'm okay.
I want to direct your attention to the evening of November 21st of 2021. Do you recall what you were doing that evening?
I was at the Waukesha Christmas parade.
And do you recall who you were with at the parade?
I was with my husband and 3 friends and 1 of their children.
About what time, if you recall, did you and your family arrive?
Right before it started, we were running late, and then by the time we got to where we were seated, it was right before it started. I don't recall exact time.
Do you recall where you and your family were positioned along the parade route that evening?
At the time, I don't remember, but I later found out that it was the Historical Society.
What do you recall weather-wise that evening? Was it a pretty chilly evening?
Yes.
If you recall?
Yes.
Pretty windy?
Yes.
So I'm assuming at some point you observed a bit of commotion. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
And do you recall what that commotion was?
Everyone running around was the biggest commotion.
At that point, did the area you were positioned in get pretty loud, chaotic?
Yeah, screaming gets loud.
Before, do you remember what you and your family were doing directly prior to the parade that evening?
I don't recall.
At the point you observed this commotion, what did you do from that point?
Started running.
I'm assuming with you and your family all took the same course of action?
We all ran, yes.
And where did you run to?
Away from the parade route. I'm not familiar with streets. I'm thinking it's East Avenue. We ran down that road.
Would that be a side street connected to the main parade route? Or?
Yes, it was a perpendicular route.
Do you recall if that side street was barricaded in any way?
I don't recall.
Do you recall if there were any law enforcement officers stationed at that side street?
I don't recall.
Did you, at any time during the commotion when you and your family were at the parade, do you recall seeing anything that drew your attention in any way?
Yes.
And do you recall what that was that you saw?
A red Ford SUV driving through faster than all the other cars in the parade.
And what did you observe this vehicle doing at the time that it caught your attention?
It was honking. Well, I heard honking. I'm not positive if it was the red SUV or another car alerting.
Did you notice any other vehicles around the vehicle you saw, following the vehicle you saw?
Following, no. it passed a float that had a vehicle in the parade. So it was by another vehicle, yes.
And it was passing the other vehicle you're referring
Yes.
to, correct? And you stated a reference to honking. In your opinion, strictly your opinion, why would a vehicle honk its horn?
To alert somebody.
Do you recall I'm assuming at some point the vehicle passed the position where you were. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
At any time during the vehicle's passing you, did you see who was driving the vehicle?
No.
Did you notice if they were intents to the vehicle as far as windows?
Ma'am, can you speak up a bit?
Oh, I don't recall.
Thank you.
Upon arriving at the parade that evening with your family, did you notice any of the side streets barricaded in any way? Any of them?
Yes.
Do you recall if there were law enforcement officers at those barricaded side streets?
I don't recall.
Do you recall about how long the parade had been ongoing before you saw this vehicle?
I don't recall.
And from that point, did you and your family immediately leave the parade and head home, or?
We left, we didn't head home.
Did you or any of your family members suffer any injuries during this incident?
No.
At any time after the incident, do you recall seeing any news reports related to this incident?
Yes.
Did you keep up with those reports, or was it just that evening or the days?
Just a couple days within whatever was right immediately. I'm not a person to watch the news.
And after that initial phone conversation with law enforcement, did any more law enforcement officers follow up with you about the report?
No.
Did you yourself follow up with law enforcement after that
No.
initial report? Did you yourself observe the vehicle that passed you during the parade? Did you yourself witness anyone injured by the vehicle?
I don't believe so.
That's all I have right now.
Thank you. Any cross?
Yes, briefly. Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Ms. Reamer. Thank you for being here today.
Yes.
I'd like you to take a look at the man seated to my right, table to your left, Mr. Brooks. You ever seen that man before?
I'm said to be called that name. My name is Darrell Brooks Jr.
Noted, overruled.
Yes.
Tell us about when you've seen Mr. Brooks before.
Objection leading.
It's cross-exam, so it's proper. They may lead. You may answer.
As we were driving to the parade, we were coming to a stoplight and we saw the red SUV coming down the wrong way on the road, and I slowed down because the car in front of me started to back up to let him through.
This took place outside of a gas station, is that correct?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd ask that we display for everybody exhibit number 7. It's previously been received and published.
Go ahead.
Objection to relevancy.
Exhibit 7 has previously been received. Overruled.
Is it relevant to this particular witness?
Yes, it is. Yes, go ahead and publish, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Reamer, can you see the map depicted on the screen in front of you?
Yes.
We're looking at the intersection of North Street and Barstow Street. Does that look correct to you?
Yes.
And is this the gas station that we're talking about?
Correct.
And you were parked on North Street facing southwestbound at the time, is that right?
Objection, speculation.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
Is that the way of traffic? I don't know.
Well, let's assume, based on these arrows here.
Yep.
Objection, speculation.
Yep.
They're on the map. Overruled. Her answer was yes, and you may ask the next question.
Madam Clerk, can we please clear the annotations? And you saw the red SUV that we've been talking about come the wrong way on North Street, is that right?
Correct.
And what happened after that?
Should I draw?
Sure, yep, that's a touchscreen, go for it.
So I stopped roughly back here as the car that was here started to reverse this way.
Okay, can we please, let's get a screen grab of this, please, Your Honor, and mark it as Exhibit 7.
It'll be C as in cat. Or Charlie.
C, Charlie, please.
It will be so marked. And just for the record, the green line was placed by Attorney Wichow from, as you're looking at the exhibit, left to right to demonstrate travel of a vehicle in his question. And then the witness put the yellow marks on the screen. And it will be received as 7C as in Charlie. Go ahead.
Objection to relevancy.
Overruled.
You saw Darrell Brooks driving that red SUV in front of that gas station, is that correct?
Objection.
At that time, I didn't know.
Called that name.
What is your name?
Brooks.
It's speculative.
Overruled. You may answer.
At that time, I didn't know his name, but yes.
But now that you see him sitting in court today,
Yes.
that's the guy.
Yes.
Objection, speculative.
Overruled. The record will reflect the identification of the defendant as the driver of the red SUV she saw as depicted in this exhibit.
Thank you. May we please display for everybody exhibit number 15, which has also previously been received and published.
Go ahead.
Can we zoom in, please, on the intersection of Main Street and Northeast Avenue?
Objection, relevancy.
I presume the question will provide the relevance, so go ahead.
Thank you. You were sitting in front of the Historical Society, you testified?
Yes.
And do you recognize this map in front of you?
Objection, speculative.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
No, I don't.
Okay. Would the Historical Society be near this intersection that I'm circling, East and Main?
Yes.
Okay, we can please remove that annotation, Madam Clerk. When you saw the red SUV drive by, you testified you could not see the driver, correct?
Correct.
Because it was going so fast?
Yes.
Did you ever see that SUV come to a stop at any point on Main Street?
No.
In fact, did you see it accelerate as it traveled towards more people?
Objection, speculative.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
Sound like you was going to say some stuff.
And then I remembered you had called the witness, not the state. So cross-examination is appropriate. Fair enough, though. Next question.
Did we get an answer on
I said yes.
that? Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Redirect, sir.
Yes.
Do you want any of the exhibits up?
I forgot what the one was before this.
7.
7 was the map with, near the gas station. This is 15. I'm going to turn it off until you tell me you need something.
I need exhibit 7.
All right, the state would put that up and we'll publish it for the jury as well.
And when shown this exhibit on cross, you stated you were approximately around. As a matter of fact, that wouldn't be fair. Can you erase that that mark, please?
It's clear.
Were you show again where your vehicle was positioned?
It's just a rough estimate, but
Okay.
probably right about here.
And where we?
That's when I initially slowed down. To stop.
Okay. And you stated there was another car that did a backing up motion. Can you show again where that vehicle was positioned?
If they were at the light going this way, backing up.
If you recall, or do you recall, if there were any vehicles in this space right here?
There was none.
Rough estimate, about how far would you estimate the distance is between your vehicle and the vehicle that was at the light? Rough estimate.
I never came to a complete stop back there. It's when I started to slow down.
So you were still kind of rolling forward a little bit?
Yes. Because they backed up and then moved forward. And so then I moved forward.
So you didn't come to a stop until you noticed that vehicle backing up?
No. I didn't come to a complete stop until we were back up at the light. I started to slow down at that point.
So where did you end up? I'm sorry, can you erase the white circle?
I can erase all of it or none of it?
The white circle.
Only, I think it's just all or nothing.
Oh, all. I'm sorry. So we'll start this again. Where did you finally come to a complete stop at, if you recall? And at that time, well, back up a little bit before I get to that. You observed an SUV, you say, at some point before you came to a complete stop?
Yes.
And what did you see that vehicle do?
Drive this way.
What did you see it do after you noticed that it was coming in that direction?
Turn in here.
Would that be into the gas station?
Yes.
And what did you see the vehicle do at that point?
Roll down their window and yell something at the car in front of me.
Did it stop?
Yes.
Was it? I'm assuming you might know what I mean by this. Was it like a brake stop or was it a park stop? If you recall.
If you're not in the vehicle, how do you know that they put it in park?
Well, a brake stop would be brake lights, but okay.
Objection, move to strike.
Grant that, strike the last statement made by the defendant, but you may ask your next question.
And how long were you at the light?
Just a very short time. It turned green pretty quickly.
And in that short time, you were able to see who was driving the vehicle, the SUV, as you say, that went into the gas station?
Yes.
Is that the same SUV you saw at the parade that evening?
Yes.
The same vehicle that you said you don't recall if it was tinted or not?
Yes.
So at the point of seeing this vehicle at the gas station, at that point, did you notice any tints?
I don't recall.
Did you notice if there was anyone else in the vehicle at that time?
I only saw one person.
Could you see into the back of the vehicle?
I don't recall.
Can you see the passenger seat of the vehicle?
Yes.
Was anybody in the passenger seat?
No.
But you don't know for sure about the back seat?
No, I couldn't see it.
Can we take down this Exhibit 7?
Go ahead.
Can you pull up Exhibit 15? Can we pull that back up?
The state would please pull that up. We'll publish that for everyone.
And
Hold on, let's make sure the jury has it.
oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. No problem, go ahead.
And you stated that you were in front of the Historical Society.
Correct.
And if I recall, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that would be somewhere around this area here.
Yes.
So
Can
was
we,
that a yes?
Yes.
Okay, thank
Can
you.
we erase that white? So the side streets, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to tap the screen. Can you erase that? I'm sorry. The side streets would be Buckley Street and Northeast Avenue. Would that be fair to say by looking at the map?
Yes, that's what the map shows.
And you said you don't recall if those side streets were barricaded.
I wasn't at the intersection. The
You were-
Historical Society is at that intersection, but I was in front of the Historical Society.
So would it be fair to say you were close to the side street?
I was close, but not at it, so I don't know if there was barricades there. I wasn't close enough to see to be by barricades.
So you stated you ran away from the commotion, so it would be fair to say at some point you moved from your position in front of the Historical Society, correct?
Correct.
And do you recall what side street you went down to when you were running?
We ran up to the building of the Historical Society on the side of East Avenue.
We can, just really quick, so that would be this side street here.
Yes.
We could take down exhibit, was it 15? And you stated that you knew the identification of the driver of this SUV based on what you observed at the gas station, correct?
Can you repeat that?
You stated that let me back up. You were able to identify the driver of this SUV based on what you observed at the gas station, correct?
The gas station, I saw the driver, yes.
Do you recall what the driver was wearing when you observed him at the gas station?
At the gas station, no.
Do you yourself recall in your telephone conversation with law enforcement stating that the driver was wearing a red-orange shirt?
That was not from the gas station.
So where would that description come from, if not the gas station?
I saw video footage of you in somebody's backyard.
So what did you observe the driver of the vehicle wearing at the gas station?
I don't recall.
So it'd be fair to say that in your phone conversation with law enforcement, you gave a description based on what you had seen from footage. I guess that would be the right word to use.
The shirt color, but your description was from the face was from the gas station.
And do you recall in that phone interview stating that you weren't positive on the shirt color?
Yes.
Do you recall in that phone interview stating that since seeing the news that you may be getting the clothing description incorrect?
I remember saying that I've seen the news. I don't remember saying that that is why I'm getting it. It wasn't the same as when you were driving.
So would it be fair to say that your description came from watching footage at some point and from news reports at some point?
Not news reports.
But you did see this incident reported on the news?
Yes.
Did you see where the vehicle went when it passed your position?
Objection. Can we just clarify whether that's at the gas station or the parade?
Fair enough. Sustained.
Sorry for that. I'll clarify.
Thank you.
Do you recall seeing where the vehicle went when it passed your position at the parade that evening?
Continued down the parade route.
And you already stated that during the parade, seeing the vehicle and not seeing the driver, how are you sure that that driver of the vehicle you saw at the gas station was the same vehicle at the parade?
I know that they were both red SUVs, Ford SUVs.
Were you yourself sure that they were the same vehicle?
They were the same model, same color, same make.
So what is the make and model, if you recall, of the vehicle that you saw at the gas station?
Ford Escape.
And how did you come to that determination based on your observation at the gas station?
Because I know a decent amount of cars.
What do you mean by decent?
I mean, I don't know all makes, but I know this one for sure because I had a friend that had the same exact make and model, just different color.
So are you yourself able to just look at a vehicle and tell the make and model?
Some, yes.
So it'd be fair to say some, not all.
Correct.
to the driver, you stated you didn't see the driver of the vehicle you saw at the parade. How do you know there was the same driver?
Objection. The state's the evidence. She never testified that she knows it's the same driver.
Sustained.
I'm asking how did you...
Rephrase your question, please.
Do you know if it was the same driver?
No.
No further questions?
All right, thank you. You may step down.
What witnesses are here? Because I don't have the I don't have any paperwork for Kohler. I don't know.
Douglas Kohler, Stephen Guth, and Erica Patterson. Of those three, I expect you to call one of those witnesses.
I set for value in return for value this document.
For the record, Judge, Attorney Witchow just handed to the defendant for his benefit the police report as it relates to the statement of Douglas Kohler, since he's claiming he does not have it.
Since I know that I don't have it. So let's make that record correct.
You don't have it with you in the courtroom is what you're saying.
I can't find it anywhere.
You've had it previously.
Yes, I had it at one point.
All right. Are you ready to proceed forward, Mr. Brooks?
Yes.
All right, let's bring the jury out. Everyone, please be seated. Mr. Brooks, just to make sure, don't block any of the microphones with anything. Both of those microphones should be on. I want to make sure that. Thank you. All right, go ahead, call your next witness.
Yeah, the defense calls Douglas J. Kohler.
All right. Witness.
Good morning, Mr. Is it Kohler?
Kohler.
Kohler. Good morning, Mr. Kohler. I want to direct your attention to November 21st of 2021. Do you recall that evening pretty well?
Fairly well, yes.
Well, let me back up for a minute. First of all, what do you do for a living?
I'm an IT director for a law firm.
Been doing that for a long time?
I've been in IT for over 20 years.
Yeah, that is a long time. Directing your attention back to the night of evening of November 21st, 2021. What did you do that day?
Well, that day I was preparing my daughter to march in the parade with her dance troupe. Watched football earlier in the day and got her dressed, and we had to change our plans last minute because my son was not feeling well. So it was just my daughter and I that went to the parade.
And do you recall what time you arrived at the parade?
It was at least an hour before the start time of the parade.
And do you recall where you were positioned at in the parade?
I moved with the dance troupe, so I
kind of going with the flow.
Correct.
And at some point you observed something happening. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
Do you recall what that was?
Well, after my daughter had finished and I was walking back to our vehicle to go home, I noticed as we were approaching White Rock, which is what we were parked off of, I noticed a vehicle coming through where the parade participants were going. It was a red vehicle. It was honking its horn. It passed a few parade entries on the right-hand side, and then it passed between two of the groups. It veered to the left and went around the next group on the left-hand side, at which point a police officer attempted to approach the vehicle. That police officer had reached for the door handle, and at the time of that approach, the vehicle started to speed off.
I just want to back up just a little bit. You stated that you heard the vehicle honking its horn.
While it was on White Rock Avenue, it was honking its horn.
In your opinion, did the vehicle appear to try to avoid hitting people?
At that point, yes.
And you made reference to it coming in, the vehicle coming in contact with an officer. Did you see where the vehicle went after that interaction with the officer?
There was no contact between the officer and the vehicle. The vehicle attempted to make contact. The officer attempted to make contact. But after that attempt, the vehicle sped southward. You know, I know those streets don't run straight north-south on Main Street.
Did you notice the vehicle strike anyone at that time?
I did not.
And what did you do after you saw the vehicle? Once it was out of your view?
Once it was out of my view, I grabbed my daughter and walked as fast as I could to my car.
And to the best of your recollection, how would you describe the vehicle as far as make and model? To the best of your recollection.
To the best of my recollection today, I only remember a red SUV.
At some point, did you report to law enforcement officers what you had observed that evening?
On the Tuesday morning following the parade, I sent an initial statement to the police.
Would that have been the Waukesha Police Department?
Yes, it was to the Waukesha Police Department.
Did you said you sent a statement. Did you initially speak with anyone verbally?
Initially, no, I did not.
At some point, did you speak with someone verbally?
Yes.
And was that sometime after the Tuesday statement that you initially gave?
Yes. Approximately 2 weeks after I made my statement, I was contacted by someone with the Waukesha Police.
Do you recall if the vehicle had any tinted windows?
I believe the rear windows were tinted like most SUVs are.
And after you had verbally speaking with law enforcement, did you do any follow-up on the reports after that?
Yes. The officer that I spoke to had advised me to add to my statement the items that we had talked about.
The law enforcement officer asked you to add certain things to your report?
He had asked me some questions, and the questions that we talked about on the phone, he asked me to add to what I had initially submitted.
Okay. And after that conversation, did you have any further conversations after that point?
I had no further conversation after that point.
Had you yourself been contacted by any further law enforcement after that point?
No.
So it'd be fair to say that you were subpoenaed to testify at some point. That'd be fair to say?
Yes.
Do you recall when you received that subpoena?
I received my subpoena last Tuesday.
The 18th?
Whatever day last Tuesday was.
Do you recall whom you received that subpoena from?
The Waukesha County Sheriff. Or
Do you
one
recall?
of the sheriffs.
I'm sorry.
Or one of the sheriffs.
And did you do any follow-up information once you received the subpoena? Like, for example, sorry. For example, calling the district attorney's office?
I did not call the district attorney's office. I did reach out to the clerk's office to see if there was any further information.
Were you or your daughter injured in any way during this incident?
No, we were not.
No further questions at this time.
Thank you. Any cross?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. Good morning, Mr. Kohler.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here. To be clear, sir, the subpoena you received was issued on behalf of the defendant, Darrell Brooks, correct?
I don't know. That information was not filled out on the subpoena.
Okay. You did provide a typed statement to the Waukesha Police Department, correct?
Objection, leading.
And
Overruled. Oh, if there's an objection, let me rule on it first before you answer. Overruled. Go ahead. And his answer, I believe he answered it, but if not, did you answer it?
I'll ask again.
Thank you.
You did provide a written statement to the police department, correct, sir?
Objection, leading.
Overruled. It's cross 90611 sub 2.
Yes, I provided a written statement.
And in that statement, you described the SUV as driving erratically down White Rock Avenue, correct?
Objection. Didn't testify to that. That was asked and answered.
Overruled. The witness may answer, and it's sub 3, not sub 2, by the way. Go ahead.
Yes, just the event of driving past some participants on the right and then veering to pass an X group on the left.
Okay. You said at that point, when the vehicle was on White Rock, it was honking its horn, correct?
Correct.
There was no objection. You can answer.
And you saw an officer run up and try and open the door to the vehicle, correct?
I don't know that he was trying to open the door, just trying to, I don't know what he was trying to do. He ran and his arm had gone towards the door handle.
Okay. And that was at the intersection of White Rock and Main Street, correct, sir?
Yes.
And you got a look at the driver of the car, correct, sir?
Objection, speculative.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
Yes, I did.
And you described the driver in your written statement as a black male with dark dreadlocks and visible tattoos. Is that correct, sir?
Objection, leading.
Overruled. The witness may answer.
Yes.
Is that consistent with your memory, sir?
Objection speculative.
Overruled.
That is consistent with my memory today.
Once the vehicle went past the officer, you indicated that you saw it accelerate or speed off. Is that correct, sir?
Objection leading.
Overruled. 906.11 sub 3.
Yes, at that point, it sped away.
Thank you, sir. I don't have any other questions.
Any redirect?
Briefly.
Go ahead.
Referring to the written statement that was just testified to the best of your recollection, do you recall stating that the SUV was a older model red Chevy Blazer?
I do recall putting that down at the time, but that was at that addition that I added 2 weeks later.
So at that time, during the evening of the incident, to the best of your knowledge, that would have been your opinion of the vehicle that you saw?
At the time of that, the day of the parade, I just remembered the red SUV.
To the best of your recollection, what assumption will lead you to describe the vehicle as a Chevy Blazer?
I believe in my assumption it was just to say it was a older boxy style SUV, and in my mind that relates closely to a Chevy Blazer.
No further questions.
All right, thank you. You may step down. And you also are excused. Thank you for being here. You may call your next witness. Thank you, sir.
One second. If I may have just a quick second.
Go ahead.
The defense will call Stephen Guth.
I believe one of my assistants went to retrieve Detective Guth, Your Honor.
Thank you.
How long have you been in law enforcement?
Over 20 years.
And how long have you been a detective?
Just over 7 years.
Directing your attention to the evening of November 21st of 2021. Do you recall that evening?
I do.
And were you on duty that evening?
Not initially.
For more clarification, what do you mean by not initially?
It was a regular off day for me, but I received notification to respond to the police department for the mass casualty incident in the downtown area of Waukesha.
So at that point, I'm assuming you were dispatched to that location?
I was not dispatched. I received a Signal message. We use Signal. It's an app that's used that we can share information for investigations. And I received a Signal message that this tragedy just happened.
And so what did you do from that point?
I immediately dropped my wife and kids off and responded to the parade.
And when you got to the parade, what did you do at that point?
I went to the downtown area to assess and see what I could help with.
At some point during your investigation, did you make contact with the woman by the name of Erica Patterson?
Yes.
And what was the nature of that that part of your investigation?
I wanted to speak with Erica Patterson because by that point, when I made contact with our command center, they had learned the name of Darrell Brooks and had learned that Erica Patterson was the estranged girlfriend of the suspect of this investigation.
You made reference to estranged girlfriend. What do you mean?
I don't know if I should answer that.
I think the question was pertaining to the word estranged, but we'll move on.
The jury will disregard that last question, then. It's been withdrawn. And the statement made by Detective Guth following that.
I'm assuming at some point you took a statement from Ms. Patterson?
I did.
Do you recall if it was recorded, written, you writing it? What was the nature of how the report was taken?
Well, her words were spoken and they were recorded, and then I prepared a report.
Did you prepare the report that same evening?
No.
When did you prepare the report?
Sometime after the 22nd of November.
Do you know, to your recollection, if any other officers have taken statements from parties that may have been involved with Ms. Patterson?
Well, the night of November 21st, 2021, I did have a partner with me, another detective.
Do you recall him talking to any other parties that may have been involved with Ms. Patterson?
Well, the detective that was with me was a female, Detective Barron.
The question was, do you know if your partner had any interactions with parties that may have been involved with Ms. Patterson?
I don't believe so.
Hold on, are you specifically referring to a date certain or just in general?
I think it was clear.
I need it clear for the record, though.
The date would be
on the 21st?
21st
okay.
of 2021.
Thank you, with that clarification.
No, I don't believe so.
Did you learn at any point that there may have been other parties involved with Ms. Patterson?
In which incident?
I'm referring again to November 21st of 2021.
Yes.
Do you recall who those parties were?
Corey Runkle and Nicholas Kirby.
Did you yourself speak with either of those parties, Nicholas Kirby or Corey Runkle?
No, I did not.
Do you recall if your partner spoke with any of those parties?
Which partner?
I'm guessing the female partner that you made reference to?
No, she did not.
And in that recorded interview with Ms. Patterson, what did you learn about the evening of November 21st, 2021?
Which recording?
Are there multiple recordings?
Yes.
What did you learn about the evening of November 21st, 2021 from both recordings with Ms. Patterson?
Your Honor, I'm going to object at this point, as this testimony covers ground that was very clearly covered during the state's case in chief.
I'll give Mr. Brooks some leeway. You are asking for hearsay, though. You understand that?
I asked him, what did he learn?
Fair enough. Go ahead. You may answer.
I learned several things. Initially, I think is what you were getting at, Miss Brooks wanted to report that she was injured by Darrell Brooks on November 20th, which would have been Saturday. She stated that she met with Mr. Brooks at Frame Park, and they were arguing over the fact that she did not give him money, and he injured her by slapping her in the mouth and punching her in the eye. The next day, I went back and talked to her again, and she clarified that that actually did not happen on the 20th. It happened on the 21st, and that she got in a motor vehicle with him over the same argument. He was mad that she did not provide him with money. He proceeded to try to take her phone because he thought she was talking to other guys. Slapped her in the mouth, punched her in the eye. She jumped out of the motor vehicle because she feared for her safety and made her way back towards Frame Park. While walking back towards Frame Park, she was calling her friends, Corey Runkle and Nicholas Kirby, to come help her. When she arrived back near Frame Park in front of White Rock School, there was a confrontation in front of White Rock School with Mr. Brooks, Erica Patterson, Corey Runkle, and Nicholas Kirby, where there was some kind of shoving match, and that's when Mr. Brooks got back into the motor vehicle and took off down White Rock towards Main Street. Erica Patterson then made her way back towards the Women's Center.
You made reference to being told about an incident from Saturday, November 20th. And then stating that in the second interview, Ms. Patterson stated that didn't happen. Is that correct?
She didn't state that it didn't happen. She just stated that she didn't drive around with him on Saturday, November 20th. But she also met with him and was slapped in the mouth that day too.
If it pleases the court, I have a document here I would like to show the witness.
All right, if the bailiff could have it to the state first to look at it. We may use the document camera if that's hooked up. Otherwise, the bailiff can take it to the witness.
Before we go through that process, I'm going to object. It's, well, maybe
Let
we
me
should
see the
talk about
document.
this. Yeah.
Give that back to Mr. Brooks. Given the content of that document, I'll sustain the objection, or what that document is, I should say.
Sustain on what grounds?
It's not relevant, yep, to this witness's testimony.
How is it not relevant?
It's not relevant.
You made reference to November 20th. That's what this document is talking about.
It's not relevant to the charges at issue. We can take it up later, and if need be, I'll let you recall the witness, but I'm directing you to move on to a new topic.
Your Honor, I'm going to respectfully object to that and ask for a finding of fact.
The objection's noted. It's sustained. Well, their objection's sustained. Yours is overruled. Please continue.
Is that noted for the record? I would like a written finding of fact.
The request is denied. Keep going, please.
Denied on what grounds? On what lawful law?
Keep going, sir. It's not relevant.
Are you making a judicial determination that you don't have to answer that question as a public servant?
Sir, I've ruled on the objection. It's on the record. Please keep going.
Once again, information that needs to be known is being hidden.
It's not relevant, sir. Please
It's
continue.
very relevant. He just opened the door on that by saying November 20th.
Objection. Move to strike all of the comments made by Mr. Brooks in the last 20 seconds or so, especially with regard to any implication that he hasn't had all of the discovery material.
Objection. I never made any mention of not having any discovery material. That never
The
was
jury will
stated.
just disregard, as I've told the jury repeatedly, comments made or statements made by the parties, whether they be lawyers or the parties themselves, are not evidence, and you're to disregard them and not consider them in any way. And if the statement suggested facts that are not in evidence, you should not consider that in any way either. All right, go ahead. Your next question, please.
So is it fair to say that in your report you referenced 2 incident reports?
Objection. This witness wrote.
I'm going to overrule the objection and let the witness answer it. I think it might just be semantics at this point, but go ahead and ask your question.
You mean semantics?
I think you were referring to that he had 2.
That's what his report says. He makes reference to two reports, 2 incidents.
2 incidents.
Yes.
Not 2 incident reports. Reports would be separate documents. That's what I'm talking about. With that understanding that you're referring to, and I think you're referring to incidents with Ms. Patterson, correct?
Yes.
Go ahead. Ask your question. I think that clarifies so that the witness can answer.
Let me back up. You wrote your own report. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
And in your report, you referred to 2 incidents. Would that be fair to say?
Just to clarify, which report are you speaking about? I wrote several reports.
The one written November 22nd of 2021.
I do reference 2 reports and 1 CAD call.
What was the last part? CAD call?
A CAD call, yes.
What do you mean cab call?
Not cab, CAD.
CAD.
C-A-D.
CAD.
A CAD call.
What do you mean CAD call? What?
That's a call for service that does not generate a police report.
And what was that CAD call?
That was a call for service near Frame Park for a fight.
Previous interview that Ms. Patterson was not completely forthright. What exactly do you mean by not completely forthright?
She did not give me all the details of the incidents to me initially.
Do you recall why?
I don't know why she didn't.
So it'd be fair to say that Ms. Patterson had been untruthful with you in the first interview?
No, she told me she was extremely afraid of you. And that's why she didn't want to tell me everything.
Well, you just stated that you didn't know why she was not forthright.
I can't read her mind, but that's what she told me.
What did you read?
Objection.
From those statements given by those 2 parties?
Objection. Calls for hearsay.
Grounds?
Sustain.
Grounds for the sustain.
Calls for hearsay.
Do you recall what officer took those statements from Nicholas Kirby and Corey Runkle in relation to the incident on November 21st of 2021?
Yes. Yes.
And what law enforcement officer was that?
Detective Van Els.
Was that the end of your investigation into the incident of November 21st of 2021?
No.
And what was the extent of your investigation after November 22nd of 2021?
Judge, I'm going to object. Well, on the defendant's behalf, I believe here, based on some previous rulings the court has made.
Sustained.
And did you speak with Ms. Patterson again after filing your report?
Yes.
In reference to the incident from November 21st of 2021?
I don't understand your question.
Did you speak with Ms. Patterson after you filed your report in relation to the incident from November 21st of 2021?
No.
In relation to the alleged incident on November 20th of 2021, do you know if that alleged incident ever took place?
Objection.
Grounds.
Calls for hearsay, lack of personal knowledge.
Well, you reported it.
It also goes to one of the ultimate issues that the jury will need to determine, so it's sustained.
No questions, no further questions right now at this time.
All right, thank you. Any cross?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, sir. You may step down.
May have something later for that particular witness.
All right, I'll try to raise that on an appropriate break. Call your next witness, please.
Is there only one witness left?
Yes. For that, yes, for that time. Yes. I believe.
No one else is here?
No, it's not 10:30 yet.
Who's supposed to come in 10:30, Your Honor?
Call your next witness, please. I don't have that list right at my fingertips.
You said what happened?
I don't have that list right at my fingertips, but I know there's a witness available, so please call your next witness.
Can I be provided that 10:30 list?
Does the state have that? You could pass it over. I don't have that at my fingertips.
Sure, let me jot it. I have it, but I'll write it up for Mr. Brooks to review, Your Honor.
Thank you. While we're doing that, if the jurors want to stand for a minute, go ahead, or anyone else in the courtroom.
I set for value in return for value this paperwork.
Thank you. If everyone would have a seat then. Please call your next witness.
And who determined this order?
Mr. Brooks, I'll take up that issue outside the presence of the jury later. If there's a witness available, please call the witness.
That's not the witness that was intended to be called at this time.
I understand that, sir. Under 906.11, I have the authority and the discretion on that, so please call the witness who's available.
So I'm being rushed to judgment.
No, sir, I'm trying to have an effective and efficient use of all of our time. So please call the witness.
Which is respected, but at the same time, being that this is my time
I'm
to
going to
present my
excuse the
defense.
jury for right now. I'll rise for the jury, please. Go ahead.
Defense calls Erica Patterson.
Thank you. We'll have her brought in.
Since I'm being rushed to judgment.
Good morning, Ms. Patterson. If you would please make your way to the witness stand, which is on my right. You may recall it's up a riser. When you get there, please remain standing.
Oh, the one spelling the name?
I believe it's on the record from previously, but go ahead. You can spell your first and last names, please.
ERIKAPATTERSON.
I'm sorry about that. 1 second. I'm trying to find this paperwork. Just had it on the table. I'm just gonna start the questioning. I'm not seeming to find paperwork that I just had on the table for some reason, odd reason. Good morning, Ms. Patterson.
Good morning.
So what do you do for a living?
I have my CNA certificate.
I'm going to direct your attention to the evening of November 21st, 2021. Do you recall what you were doing that evening?
I was hanging out with my friend Corey at Frame Park. I had spoken to you, Mr. Darrell Brooks. You came out there at Frame Park and met me after Miss Corey separated from me with her friend. Me and you got into an argument.
Whoa. Pursuant to the question?
I am answering your question.
I was referring to the judge.
I was hanging out with
I think
Miss
that kind of
Corey.
got a little ahead of...
Mr. Brooks, just I'll let you interrupt the answer and you can ask a follow-up. I apologize. I was instructing the clerk to turn up the volume. So go ahead, ask your question.
Same question?
Sure.
What were you doing the evening of November 21st, 2021 before linking up with the alleged defendant?
Hanging with my roommate at the time at Frame Park.
And what were you and your roommate doing?
I'll object. We covered this ground during her testimony previously.
Objection and grounds for... I object to that and grounds for the objection on behalf of the state.
Mr. Brooks, we did cover many of these topics previously, so if there's new topics, please go to those. I'll give you a little bit of leeway to lay some foundation, but go ahead, ask your question.
That's
the
with the
objection is from the state is overruled. Do you remember the question?
You asked me what was I doing at the park with Corey? Is that your question?
Yes.
We were drinking. I was drinking Mike's Hard beverage.
Do you recall around what time of the evening it was when you and your roommate arrived at the park?
I do not remember. We left where we were staying a little around afternoon. A little bit around afternoon.
Do you recall having any phone interactions during that time when you and your roommate were at the park?
Phone interactions, yes.
Do you recall who they were with?
You.
What do you mean by you?
Darrell Brooks.
Is that usually the name you refer to the alleged defendant by?
No.
Would it be fair to say that during those phone interactions, there was a talk of you guys meeting up? Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
Do you recall, to the best of your recollection, what time that would have been at?
No, I don't remember. It was throughout the day.
I'm sorry, are you making references to the phone conversations being throughout the day?
Yes.
And so at some point, would it be fair to say that you did meet up with the alleged defendant?
Yes.
Do you recall what time that was?
I just told you no.
Do you recall if you were still at the park during that time, or had you moved locations?
Still at the park.
And was your roommate still present with you at that time?
No, she left. We went separate ways. I stayed at the park, and she went her other way with her friend.
Do you recall who that friend was?
Nick.
I'm assuming, or let me back that up. Would it be fair to say that at some point during the meetup with the alleged defendant, things got a little chaotic? That'd be fair to say?
Yes.
Where did you drive to?
Around then me and you, Mr. Brooks, were arguing in the car. We went up this is a street, it's like a hill. We went up there, and then me and you got into an altercation. I got out of the car, walked back towards Frame Park.
Wait, again.
Hold on, she's answering your question.
You
You asked her where you drove from. Go ahead. Finish.
Yes, ma'am. And then I was walking down the street when I left your car. And that's when you followed me, and I walked back towards Frame Park. And you were following me.
Made reference to walk back to Frame Park.
I don't know the exact street name. It was the walk back down the hill. I don't know the exact street name.
Did you at any time, sorry, did you at any time during your travels back to Frame Park, did you at any time notice that there was something going on in the area?
No. When I got to Frame, I was too worried about walking back to Frame Park. When I got to Frame Park after I left it, that's when I realized there's something going on.
And did you ever arrive back at Frame Park?
Yes.
And what did you do when you arrived back at Frame Park?
I called my friend Corey and told her that me and Mr. Brooks got into an altercation. Mr. Brooks was following me. I went back to the SUV, the car, and you argued with me somewhere. I walked back across the street, and by that time, Miss Corey had walked toward us to meet up with me.
And you made reference to you calling your friends.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recall? Well, let me back up a little bit. Did you call your friend Corey or the friend that she had left you to hang out with?
Corey's phone, I kept calling her phone. Her phone kept going to voicemail, so then I called Nick's phone. He put Corey on the phone. I said Darrell Brooks had just hit me.
I want to back up a little bit, if I may, to the day prior, November 20th of 2021. Do you recall what you were doing that day?
Well, where I was staying at the shelter at first, I was arguing still with Mr. Brooks all throughout the day. Me and Corey had left, and Corey and I stepped away, and I went back to Frame Park. I went to Frame Park, that's where I met you at. Me and you also got into an argument that day, but we didn't drive around. We're at the Frame Park.
So you're saying that you and the alleged defendant were together the day of November 20th, 2021?
Yes.
And you stated you were briefly with your friend Corey that day?
Yeah, but she went a whole different direction. She didn't come to Frame Park with me. She turned on a whole different street right before Frame Park.
Do you recall at any time on November 21st of 2021 being interviewed by a Detective Guth?
Yep.
And do you recall giving a recorded report at that time?
I don't remember.
Do you recall if you had given Detective Goof all the details of the alleged incident on November 20th of 2021?
I didn't give him all the details, but I did the next day when I seen him.
Funny. Were you aware that it was reported there was in fact no incident on November 20th, 2021?
That's not true.
Objection. Move to strike the answer and the question.
Grounds.
Lack of personal knowledge. Hearsay.
Sustained. I'll strike the question and the answer. The reason stated, sir, rephrase, or...
So can I show the witness the same paperwork that I attempted to show?
No.
And why not?
Not relevant.
How's it not relevant when that was just testified to? Wouldn't that be opening the door?
No. Next question.
Any reason why it would be reported no incident happened on November 20th of 2021?
Same objection.
Grounds.
Since facts not in evidence, sustained.
Grounds for the sustain?
The record speaks for itself.
So, upon speaking to Detective Goof during the first interview, do you recall why you were not forthright with information?
It wasn't that I was not forthright, I just didn't tell him everything right away.
Why not?
I don't know, Mr. Brooks.
when speaking with a law enforcement officer, would it be fair to say that you should be truthful and honest?
I was very truthful. I didn't tell him everything at once. I told him the next day, Mr. Brooks.
And in the alleged incident on November 20th of 2021, were you injured?
No. Well, you did hit me a little, like a little.
Were you injured?
No, I didn't have any marks on me. Is that what you're asking?
So where were you injured?
By my lip.
Objection. This states the evidence.
Grounds.
I believe the witness understood the question. She answered it. It may stand.
Did your roommate observe any injuries from the alleged incident on November 20th, 2021?
She knew about it, but there's nothing visible on my face.
So what time did you meet up with the alleged defendant on November 20th, 2021?
I don't remember.
Was it morning time?
Afternoon.
Evening time? I didn't hear that.
Afternoon.
And what were you doing prior to the alleged meeting up with the alleged defendant?
Objection.
Grounds.
Asked and answered.
Sustained.
Grounds for the sustain.
Asked and answered.
When?
Next question, please.
When was it answered? So to the best of your recollection, you can't recall why an alleged incident on November 20th of 2021 was reported to never happen.
Objection.
Grounds.
Same reasons as the previous objections.
Assumes facts not in evidence. Mischaracterizes her prior testimony and irrelevant.
I object to that respectfully and
Next
ask
question.
for a legal finding of fact and a legal reconsideration of that ruling, Your Honor.
Denied. Noted for the record. Next question, please.
I'm trying to figure out how something got pulled out of thin air. Interesting. So it would be fair to say that you have a child in common with the alleged defendant. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
Yeah, is that the only child in common?
Yes.
You have any other children?
Objection.
Grounds.
Has nothing to do with the case. Sorry.
Hold on. There's been an objection. Not relevant. Sustained.
Grounds for the sustain?
The record speaks for itself. Next question.
What was the record speaking for itself? I didn't hear it.
Not relevant.
How is it not relevant?
Next question, please.
How is it not relevant? The child that you have in common with the alleged defendant, how old is that child?
15.
Do you keep regular contact with that child?
Off and on.
Describe what you mean by off and on.
I'll object.
Grounds.
This is not relevant.
Not relevant. Sustained.
Grounds.
It's not relevant, sir.
She answered it.
Next question, please.
And the child in common that you have with the alleged defendant, does that child live with you?
No.
Objection.
Grounds.
Relevance.
Grounds.
Sustained. Not relevant. You don't have to answer that.
Do any of your children live with you?
Objection.
Grounds.
Relevance.
Sustained.
Grounds for the sustain?
Not relevant.
That goes to the credibility, Your Honor, so how is it not relevant?
The objection has been sustained.
For relevancy. I object to that and would like to inform you that I intend to appeal that decision unless you want to give a legal reconsideration of that ruling.
Noted for the record, I direct your attention to 906.16, and the basis for the objection being sustained is it does not fall within the categories listed. Next question.
Is that lawful law?
Next question, please, sir.
I'm getting there. This is lawful law.
Wisconsin State Statute 906.16.
That doesn't answer my question, but okay. Where did you meet the alleged defendant?
Reno, Nevada.
How long have you known the alleged defendant?
16 years.
You made reference to meeting in Nevada. Do you recall where you met at in Nevada?
No. I don't remember.
In relation to the alleged incident on November 21st of 2021, would it be fair to say that there's been no contact between you and the alleged defendant?
Not since then, no.
That last answer was kind of low. Did you say no?
I said no, not since then.
So that would mean, assuming, that would mean no contact at all via phone or anything like that?
No.
So my question would be, I don't know if you can see them from here, but do you recognize these pictures?
You need to show those to the state. The bailiff will take them. It's not proper procedure, sir.
I'm going to object to those being shown to the witness. They have no relevance whatsoever to this trial.
Yes, they do. And I'm getting to how they have relevance.
They've also never been disclosed to the state before this moment.
Sustained.
Sustained why?
Not relevant.
They are relevant. It creates foundation. And I can prove that.
I'll take up the issue outside the presence of the jury at the conclusion of this witness, and if need be, bring the witness back in. But next question, please.
And these need to be offered into evidence as well. You stated that there's been no contact. How would the alleged defendant obtain photographs from you if there's been no contact?
Objection.
Grounds.
Fact, not in evidence.
Grounds.
Sustained. Assumes facts not in evidence, not relevant.
How's it not relevant? Photos just don't pop up out of the blue.
Mr. Brooks assumes facts not in evidence,
No,
and at
facts.
this point,
I got the pictures
conduct
right here.
after
Facts.
the alleged date of violation here is not relevant.
Alleged violation.
You're
For the record.
correct. After the date charged, that the dates that are charged for these allegations, you are absolutely correct.
Thank you. Have you, since the evening of November 21st of 2021, have you attempted to contact the alleged defendant?
Objection.
Grounds.
Relevance.
Grounds.
I'm going to excuse the jury. I'll rise for the jury. Sir, I'm going to let you make an offer of proof as to why you believe the photographs and the questioning about contact after the alleged incident is relevant.
It's relevant because these were sent by the witness.
It assumes a fact, not an evidence, but
You
what
want
is...
the letter
hold
too?
Hold on. Tell me the basis you believe there's been communication and why you believe it's relevant to her testimony.
It's relevant because it was testified to her first time testifying, and then also by was the last guy, Guth, that he was told that the witness was supposed to be so deeply afraid of me and all this type of stuff. So if you're so deeply afraid and worried about somebody and this and that, why would you
Did you want to open up the door to the other act's evidence of
That's
you
not
used-
opening.
No.
That's not
Hear me
opening the
out.
door.
Hear me out. Oh, yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
These witnesses have been incredibly careful to abide by my rulings. Sometimes in a court of law, when there are pretrial rulings, the testimony of a witness needs to be said in such a way not to run afoul of that. This witness, Detective Guth, I believe Detective Casey and others, Corey Runkle, and even Nicholas Kirby yesterday, this court has all had to stop them so that they didn't run afoul, or they've stopped themselves so that they didn't run afoul of the court's pretrial ruling on other acts evidence between you and this witness. And I have been very, very careful to make sure that doesn't come in. But if you keep questioning her about whether she's afraid or not, or why she wouldn't have contact or not, you are opening the door to that testimony. All of my rulings have been made to prevent what could be seen as prejudicial evidence. The standard's not prejudicial. The standard's whether it's unfairly prejudicial. But you can open the door to that, sir.
It's unfairly prejudicial that I have a document stating that November 20th never even happened, but yet and still the witness can get on the stand and lie on the stand.
Over to the state.
Come on, man. Y'all know that's not right. Y'all know that's not right.
Then you need to immediately turn it over to the state right now. It may become relevant, but no one has seen it. When did you receive the document? Hold on. When did you? I'm having you make an offer. When did you receive the document?
Okay, but I just want to state for the record, Your Honor, that's kind of biased because the state did the same thing yesterday with creating an exhibit right on the fly that didn't even exist that I didn't have. But
that's not true. That's a misstatement of the evidence.
That is true.
No.
She said it herself.
No. Marking an exhibit is not creating an exhibit.
No, not marking an exhibit. She said...
We're not going to go down a tangent, sir.
Right,
I'm going to focus on this, and I'm going to give you the
fair.
opportunity to make a record.
It's not fair. It's not fair.
When did you receive this document that you claim was sent by this witness.
It's not claim. It's for a fact.
Sir, it hasn't been established yet. I need to make a record.
So do y'all want the
I
letter?
want to see
Y'all
the
want the
letter.
envelope? What?
I want to see the letter.
Okay, so I got.
And I want to know when you received it.
I gotta bring that in. Every time, this is what I don't get. Every time I'm presenting something that needs to be made for the record and placed in the evidence, it's a problem. But the state can do it, no problem.
It's not, sir. There are proper procedures, and I
Okay,
want
well,
you to
that
make
was the
a
proper
record.
procedure.
If you don't make a record,
So
then
what?
I can't make a ruling.
It threw people off the loop. They weren't ready for it. They scared of it. That's what it is. Come on, man.
Mr. Brooks.
Come on, man. Stop.
When you
Stop.